What's up everyone, and thank you for stopping by the channel. Today's project is this Ryobi trimmer, and the problem is it's not running very well and it's also leaking fuel. Let's take a good look at it, find out what's wrong with it, and hopefully we can fix it. In this video, we try and repair this trimmer. However, it may not be the exact repair you need to make to yours. We'll explore other options later in the video. So the history on this trimmer is that it used to be ran on regular gas and oil mix. After a couple of years of use, it started to have running problems. It was then switched over to pre-mix in a can and it started running much better. However, about a year later, it started having problems, and it started right after it developed a small fuel leak. So when I first got this trimmer, it was very dirty where the fuel lines went into the fuel tank. So that's a good place to start when looking for a fuel leak. Now the fuel line on the right side is still in good shape, and if you give it a slight tug, the fuel line is still hard to pull out, so it means it's sealing well. However, if I tug the other fuel line, it was barely in the tank. That means the fuel line was broken and will need to be replaced. If we take a closer look inside the fuel tank, we can see the return line at the top, and the other fuel line is the fuel filter line. However, if we take a closer look, it appears the line is broken, and not only is the line broken at the top, but it's also broken near the filter. That means the carburetor's internal screen might be clogged, so I'll need to remove the carburetor and inspect it for problems. Another reason why this trimmer would be leaking fuel would be a carburetor problem. The easiest way to fix it, of course, is to replace it. Now, a rebuild kit would also work, but the chances of it working is a lot less than buying a new one. Now, after taking the primer side of the carburetor off, we can see the internal screen. There's not much buildup on it, but since it's been running on premix from a can versus gasoline from the pump, I still want to remove it and get a better look at it. Now, aside from a small black speck on the screen, there doesn't seem to be any buildup on it, so I'll reinstall it. Next, I want to remove the silver plate from the metering diaphragm and inspect it for any problems as well. So here's the metering diaphragm, and it's very flexible, so it's in working condition. However, it has some wrinkles in it. It would definitely still work if I reused it, but I want to replace it since I have some available. The only thing I have to make sure is that the replacement diaphragm has the same length stem in the middle. So the fuel line I'll be using is Tygon line. It's supposed to be more ethanol resistant than regular fuel line. To help get it into the tank, cut it at a sharp angle. The first line I'm going to make is the fuel filter line. Pull the line out of the opening and cut that angle piece off so you can insert the fuel filter. After that, I'll make the return line. Now, you don't have to cut the angle piece off of it since nothing's going to attach to it. I usually leave about an inch of line in the tank, but yours can be a lot longer if you want to. Now, when reconnecting the fuel lines, the fuel filter line attaches to the lower port on the carburetor, and the port near the primer bulb is for the return line. When you press the primer bulb, fuel should leave the carburetor through the return line and back to the tank. Now, we might need to adjust the carburetor, and for this particular one, we'll need a special Pac-Man adjusting tool. Now, you can find this and different types online for a few dollars. If you take a look at the front of the carburetor, you can see two round screws. The one closer to the engine is labeled L, and it's for low engine speed adjustments, and the screw closer to the air filter is labeled H, and that's for high engine speed adjustment. Now, if it has problems idling, I would make adjustments to the L screw. For more fuel, I'll turn the screw counterclockwise, and if it runs poorly at full throttle, I'll make adjustments to the H screw, and for more fuel, yet again, I'll turn the screw counterclockwise. Now before we make any adjustments, make sure the trimmer line is out of the head and at full length. This will put a slight load on the engine when we tune the carburetor. Now to start it, all we do is press the primer bulb a couple of times, move the choke to the start position, and pull it till it starts and runs. So it tried to start the first time, but it died. After that, it didn't even try to start at all. Let me check the instructions again and see if I'm doing this right. Well, it looks like it was doing it right, so since it didn't start, there's a good chance the engine is now flooded. To clear the flood, squeeze the throttle, which will unchoke the engine, and while squeezing the throttle, pull the rope till it starts. So it started and ran, but when I squeezed the throttle, the engine wasn't getting to full speed, and as the engine started to warm up, it eventually died. Now I normally tune the carburetor when it's running, but since it's not starting the way it's supposed to, I have to guess on what kind of adjustments to make. I'm going to turn the L screw counterclockwise for more fuel at idle and see if that makes any difference when starting it. So it didn't start yet again, and before I make another adjustment, I want to get the engine running just in case it's flooded. I'll then try adjusting the carburetor one more time. I think the carburetor is flooding the engine, so this time I'm going to turn the H screw clockwise. This makes the carburetor deliver less fuel at high engine speeds, or in this case, during a cold start. I'll also do the same to the L screw. So I was finally able to get the carburetor tuned to run well. However, these settings may not be ideal for starting. This happens from time to time when an engine starts to wear out and the carburetor is not as efficient at delivering fuel like it's supposed to. What sometimes happens though is the normal starting procedures won't work anymore and they need to be modified to fit the machine you're working on. You can either buy a new carburetor or work with the one you've got, which is what I've opted to do. Now for a final test, I'm going to let this engine cool down and see how it starts. As you just saw, it didn't start at all like it did before in the start position. I then squeezed the throttle to unchoke the engine, and without squeezing the throttle, the engine started and ran just fine. I think I can live with it just like this. So my question is, would you adjust a starting procedure from the original printed on the machine, or would you spend the extra money on time and parts to get it starting the original way? Personally, any way I can get it started is fine by me. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I hope to see you in my next video.